Welcome back, everybody. I'm David and I'm from Karnage Karts, and today we're going to try and wrap up this healed supertrike and see if we can't get her back on the road. A couple things we need to do yet. Eliminate the extra wiring from here and here. Get a different choke set up. I do have a couple Predators and those type of motors that I could probably swap over and borrow some parts for those. Same engine. Find another nut for this one. Get our throttle hooked up. And make sure the cutoff switch is actually working, so that if we do get rolling and get into an oops situation, we can shut it down quite easily. For the most part, the chains are still on. I didn't switch anything around. I did swap out and I did get a new bolt for this particular clutch. I do think I do need to eliminate yet one of the washers from this pulley, so I can bring it back and straighten this out just a little bit more, or otherwise I think this belt is going to flip. Beyond that, it should be fairly painless. So on that note, let's begin. Well, the first thing I think we need to do, I talked on the last video about rotating this cover so that the pull start was in the opposite way, but I think first things first is that I'm going to remove it, but I want to, I think, keep this in this position to pull this way, because like I said on the last video, that if you're a sole operator and right now it's not electric start, we're just going to use this motor to get it going, and then I'm either going to rebuild the 8 horse or I'm going to upgrade and get a Predator or something 8 horse with electric start. But until then, we want to be able to enjoy it a little bit. So what you're going to do, this is an 8mm. So we're going to take off these 4 bolts off of this cover. And we're not going to need that. And this one. This one, and last but not least, and this one. Alright, so now what we're going to try and determine, we have an extra set of wires here, and we do have the oil level sensor right here, which we are not going to use. So we're going to take this one off, and then we are going to find which ones are our cutoff switch for the coil itself. I think it's these, but I'm going to have to remember. So I think it looks like 10mm. Although these sensors are handy for a lot of applications, you will notice that if you keep them intact while they are on a mini bike or a go-kart. If you go up a hill around a sharp corner and oil sloshes, your engine is going to shut off. So you do not want to keep these intact. Alrighty, let's get this out of here. And this is the crazy little shit that you don't want. So let's see here. Get that off. We will not need that one anymore, so do not worry about it. And you won't need that one anymore. That's your oil sensor. Alrighty, so this one gets clipped. I think what I'm going to do is take off this cover also, which is back to an 8mm. And I need an extension for this one. One here. One down here. One underneath the at the back corner of the gas tank. And last but not least, lower corner opposite on the block down here. There's usually only the 4. Alright, now there is a, well, I might as well take this off while I'm at it. This is that choke control that I was talking about, the manual one. So that's just a Phillips that we are not going to need anymore. Because we are going to put a regular choke that comes back through on here anyways. All right. And now we're back in business. So we'll get this out of our way. That's pretty much pointless. Now what we want to do is we want to follow these wires that are coming up. That mess we don't need. This one we do need. So let me clip that off of there. do like wire ties. Let's get that out of there. There. Alrighty. So then the ground, let's see. Didn't need that anyways. The ground will be this one. So that we are going to need. And the only other thing that we are going to keep is we're going to keep this yellow one right here. And the only reason we are is because we are going to put this one back on here and pull this yellow one out of this assembly. And what that does then is you will have a complete loop. This one will go through. We won't need this part, but so we will loop around, basically the ground for the coil will go up to one side of your kill switch. It'll come back out of the kill switch, and we're going to come right to here with one of our rounded edged ones here so that we can ground it back to the engine block, and that will enable your kill switch to go. So we'll cut that one off, this one off, and they sure like to tape things sometimes. Alright, get that off. That cluster off. Alright, then we can get in here. So we don't need these. This was part of the generator setup. We are going to take this one and put an end on it in a little bit, and then we will keep this one out here, and when we put these wires back in, we'll follow it from the other side and hook those up into here. We'll get the I do have spade connectors and stuff. So and what we will do is put this one back on now that we know what we're dealing with. One there and one there. So we'll start with this one. And this type of setup is usually what you'll find on most of the Honda clones. So whether it's a Predator or any of the above, this one I believe is a Generac. So this one is off a generator, a 6.5 horse generator. That the generator part was bad, but the engine was good. I know a lot of people like to say that the generators have a tapered shaft, but that is not 100% accurate. Maybe on the old stuff, but not most of the newer generators do not have the tapered shaft that I've encountered so far. So therefore, I'm going to say it is still kind of iffy on whether they do or not, because I can't say that 100% that is true. But I'm saying my experience with them so far has been come on in there. Kind of a test of patience sometimes on this particular one. That one's golden. And last but not least, this rear bottom corner. testing patience today. I guess as a tech tip, I would keep them all fairly loose until they are all technically started. Or they're going to like to be just a little bit off and want to fight you. So we got it. Alright, last but not least, alright, there's that part. If you don't want to get confused later on, you can just snip this little stub off the back end of the sensor. And that way it doesn't add to any confusion later on, and away you go. So there we go. So that actually should all be ready to go. I might as well put this on quick. Like I said, we're going to keep this in the forward position for now. Normally on Karts, I would have it to a rear position, but I think for the ease of use, it is going to be have it pull forward, so a single operator would be able to start this without having to run around and go onto the front of the machine and hit your throttle and all that fun happy stuff. But like I said, this is kind of a temporary setup, only because, like I said, I would like to have an 8-horse on here, and I would like to have, the goal ultimately would be to have electric start. In which case I'd have to add a battery box, which is pretty simple. Could probably use one off of a quad setup, or I'm sure I've seen on Amazon and everywhere else little battery boxes. You'll just have to determine what size by what size battery you plan on using. But I'm going to, any modifications that I make to this particular machine, I would like to keep either direct bolt on and bolt off if necessary without altering the actual cart itself, so that when it comes time for resale, or whenever its time comes that wants to be done, we can go ahead and do that. Alright, now the other thing we need to check out, I'm going to move back here to the carburetor. These are 10 millimeter, same as any Predator. Tillotson. I saw Redbeard's Garage had done a series on a newer engine. It's called a Wildcat, and if anybody's interested in seeing information on that, they can obviously go to his channel, and It seems like the newer Wildcat is actually built stronger. So we may be experimenting with some of those. Come on, jeez. There we go. It's still only about 40 some degrees, so some of this plastic is a little on the stiff side and not as pliable as it is in the middle of the summer. But that's alright. Around here, 40 some degrees is still a nice day compared to 30 below. So we'll take it. We will pull that off. Alrighty. And like I said, this particular setup is going to be like any of the other Predator style or Honda clone style, we'll just say. So what they had done is they just had this assembly stuck on here, and for the generator you just pull this back and forth for your choke, but that's not going to quite do the trick. I mean, technically we could. This one doesn't seem to, like some of the Predators, doesn't have the on and off. Although I do have some carbs from a Predator, so that I probably could, since they're the exact same thing, I probably could just go ahead and do that. So what we're going to need to get rid of is this little piece. So that we can get our throttle cable through there. Now on this particular engine, I noticed there's a set screw missing from right here. Because typically what you would do is you would come through, cinch it down. The little hole through here is you would feed your cable through, tighten down the set screw wherever you want. We got some frayed ends on this, so I'm going to snip off this piece a little bit. We're not going to need it because it looks like I can go all the way through. I could probably clip it way back into here and go. This one, it looks like, since it was governed to a certain degree, this set screw here with the spring on it controls your throttle control. So if you're looking at, you know, kind of wide open and be able to open her up, what you want to do is you want to back it out. And that gives you the most amount of travel out of here. Most of these engines are usually engaging 33 to 3600 RPM, and that's kind of where they're golden at. So let me go ahead and look at a couple of my other engines and see what I can do about getting the choke assembly, which I know I have someplace, and if not, I might grab one of the Predator carburetors so that I can have the gas shut off right here also. Alright everyone, I took a small pause. I found the carburetor I wanted. This is the original. As you can kind of see, I'll back up so it focuses a little better. Straight gas valve in. So what I changed over to, I found a Honda clone style, this style, which fits that air cover a little bit better. It has the gas shut off on it, and I originally had a taller choke lever, but I dug a little deeper and I found what I believe to be the appropriate one for that particular cover. So we should be back in business now. All you have to do to swap these out, obviously you got a gas line right here. This one, when you pull forward, this will move over so you could pull this rod straight out, and then there's just this little spring right here that needs to be hooked back up. But when you hook your gas line through, on this one has a shutoff, which I kind of prefer. I'm not a big fan. Everybody has opinions on it, but my personal opinion is, quite honestly, as long as you're not using garbage gasoline and you use 91 octane or above, you really don't have to drain these a whole bunch. What I would do is, if you're not going to ride it for a while, let it run, shut the gas off, kind of call it a day. That way the float can't stick down here and it fills up with gas, and then all of a sudden you're flooding out and everything else. I don't always like to drain the carburetors. You do have an extra nut right here that you can drain it. If you drain them, as a cautionary note, a lot of times the bowl seals will dry out for sitting long periods of time. Now, it depends on if it's going into long storage or not. If it's just, 3 months over the winter, I personally wouldn't. I don't on my snowblower either, which I just did a video on that pig over there. That thing's working really good. If they're going to sit, if you plan on long-term storage, okay, maybe I'd consider it. But just be aware that when the carburetors are dry, it has a tendency to dry out all the rubber at the same time as the gas evaporates out of it. So then there's that. So all we really need to do, I'm going to hand this back over to my other half who's been helping me film today. So thank you very much. And we will put this cleaner back on. Quit your snickering. Alright. So now we just line those back up. Don't worry about getting it. Everybody's done 100 of these. Except for you.
My thoughts exactly.
Yeah. So both of those are through. There is a valve cover one on this side, so we can push that back on. So then with the new choke set up, I have the choke here and the gas on and off here. So that's kind of nice to have, better than that other rod. You want these snug, but they don't have to be overly cranked, because there are gaskets on front and back, which you want to make sure that you add. So alright, that's back on. Now, what did I do with the nut for the top of here? So we'll get that back on. Butterfly, butterfly, butterfly.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, was that?
Yeah.
Ooh, I got it.
It's dark. I wasn't expecting a black one. Everything in this garage has a tendency to be black, and when I set something down, since everything is black, I can't find the darn thing again. It's like black handles, black rubber tips. Yeah, it has a tendency
Black.
Yeah, it can go sideways. I got a black lighter. Oops, set that down. Boom, gone. I'll find it in 6 months. It's kind of annoying, but I guess if that's the color you like. That back on. We will put the vent back on. At least I didn't look for my pliers. Alright, so then that is back on. So, carburetor, when I was switching it over, I did have a new seal and a new bowl. It has new floats in it and everything. I just was had it from a different project. So, carburetor is done. Plug is still in it. We went ahead and got our wiring situated, so we know we are only 2 wires from here to here. We'll go through how I find the on and off for this here shortly. Got our extra garbage out of here, so then all we really need to do, I need a bolt or a nut, I think, for this one. Yep. So I need a nut. It was missing it when I had picked up a series of, I think, four or five of these engines so far from a friend of mine that had gotten a group for an organization of generators. These generators were donated, and it turned out where the engines were good, but the generators were bad. So, that being said, they didn't want to scrap out the engines, and I figured, well, they're 212s anyways. I'll take them off your hands. Thanks, buddy. So, that's you're not going to turn down free modern engines versus trying to find parts for old Tecumsehs. Now, don't get me wrong, as my other half here can attest to, the Fun Power, I think they are, the Tecumseh Fun Power. We've gotten those up to like 45, 50 miles an hour,
Hell
just
yeah.
screaming in the parking lot next to us. Not that we would have done it, or supposedly we have gone around that parking lot over there at really fast speeds. Okay. Supposedly.
Wasn't us.
Yeah, may or may not have video of said things, so I guess, whatever. So let me find, let's see, I should have a couple extra engines behind us over there, which I showed you on one of the videos, which is just a giant mess, so you don't need to go back there. Pause. Alright, let's get this nut on this muffler that I just stole off the other one. And the other one bounced behind my bench, so that's going to be fun. So if I ever need one, we can go for a treasure hunt and find where that one went to. But these are generally 1/2-inch nuts anyway, so that shouldn't be that big of a deal. Go down to the hardware store. Looks like I've robbed a couple off of a couple of them already. Alright. Okie dokie. Now, so now we have carburetor set up, muffler done. So before, let's see, that rod is ready. Before I go too much further, I should probably figure out a kill switch. Alright, pause. Alright, so we are going to take this side of our ground and be a handicap. Get that one. Now these It looks like from here, this is a bullet connector, but if I touch in here, I should be able to ground this out and have that done. I think looks like gas tank, as you can see,
I had to. Sorry.
is flawless. You're a retard. Ooh, do I even have gas? I got low. We will make sure that is on off. We will just throw a little in for now. And there. Now, the next thing we're going to want to do is get the rear tires off the ground. If you have a untested unit you don't know nothing about, when you start up an engine, you're definitely going to want to get the rear tires off the ground so it doesn't shoot through your garage and out the street and all that. So, pause. Well, I guess before going any further, we might as well make sure this motor is halfway decent. So let me switch spots with you. We will turn gas on. We know this way is choke. We are gonna give it a couple vroom vrooms.
Where are you with the camera? Okay.
Don't point at me. It's not like I'm gonna make engine noises and go.
Well, that's where all the noise is gonna come from. Just checking.
Uh-oh. What's going on here?
Uh-oh.
She sounds a little weird in there.
Woo! Woo! Hey, I thought it was gonna be louder than that.
I hope it doesn't. I think we have a brake hanging up a little bit. See how this one is spinning really good?
Yeah. And this one isn't.
Let's see if they actually work though.
Sweet.
The brakes work. Alright, that's bonus.
Bonus. Woo-wee! I can't wait to take it for a ride!
Alright, now let's see if the kill thing works.
Ta-da!
And as expected, it
Good
does.
job.
All right, I didn't even chew up my wiring here, so that's a
Nice.
bonus. Well, this is
Well,
really, really close to being done. So it kind of looks like this brake pad. No, it wasn't stuck.
huh.
Might be a little tight, but it should be a solid. I believe it to be. I don't really know because there is a gearbox down here, if you can see. But it should be an even ratio from side to side. I don't think that this one is secondary and just free spins. I could be wrong on that because it's not a solid shaft, as you can see. This one spins, that one does not until it hits a certain RPM, so I'm thinking that one should be fine. Ooh, so then we're just looking at a throttle hookup and a kill switch hookup, and to be honest with you, that's kind of exciting. This has the potential to be ripping out of here any moment now, so I guess what we'll do, it's too bad this doesn't have the lighting coil and everything, because it does have brake lights. It does have a headlight on it, which is why I say this particular motor is only temporary. I don't plan on keeping it on here. I would like to get a 8-horse or maybe even bigger. I'm not sure if I want to go too crazy on it, but I guess we'll have to see what kind of how would you say, horsepower to weight ratio, the 6.5 on it. Maybe we can do a series later on. It does have a new chain. There is a brand new belt on it. Now we do have a brand new carb on it. This particular one is a Hemi style engine. You can usually tell on this style on whether or not if you're looking in a Harbor Freight store and you look at the font on the valve cover, if they're the really thin lettered font, is the Hemi style head. If they're the wide style font, then it's a regular style
What style is this considered?
Hemi.
Okay.
So there we go. Well, we are probably really, really close. I think I'm going to wrap this one up here. And then in the next video, what we'll do is we will hook up kill switch. We'll get the throttle. I'm going to have to find a center screw for this one. I may or may not have to run down to the hardware store for probably the zillionth time, because, well, they love me down there because I'm a forgetful kind of guy. And then what we'll do is we will double check the brakes one more time. Obviously, we saw that they were working with the lever, so that's all ready to go. So really, the only thing holding us back right now is simple cable, and 2 wires will have to go up to the on and off switch, which is up here on the handlebars. So on this assembly, on and off is going to be right here, and then it does have a separate off for your headlight. And then what we will do once it's running and driving, you can see somebody started it. So hopefully we are able to polish these up. I do believe on these models that there is a how would you describe that? There is a set of baskets that come available with these. This one did not have it upon my getting it, but you can see where it was. And basically what it is it's a hoop that comes over like this and just pins itself into here, and then bolts to each side, and it will have like a carrying area, so you could actually use this to go fishing,
Sweet.
hunting, for a freaking picnic.
Sounds
The SST
like
is
going for a
the
picnic.
single seat version on that. I believe the seat to be original. It actually has the nice 70s metal flake in it. I don't know if you can
Oh yeah.
really see it, but the gentleman before me, I had traded this
Yeah, you can
for
see it.
a Speedway mini bike, a Speedway Saver, and the gentleman was quite a collector, and so he kind of offered to do a swap, and I was like, well, I haven't had one of these. I've had the Sperry Rands, Karts, and whatnot. I do have a bunch of buggies. I do have obviously a hammerhead hiding back here underneath this junk. The one next to it is a BX 125, which we need to do rings on, and that'll be coming up also. The other things we'll be working on and coming up shortly is my Kawasaki Prairie, which is my normal snow machine instead of my poor Cub Cadet. Seems to have jumped time. It'll crank, and then all of a sudden it'll backfire really bad. So that being said, yeah, it sounds like a 22 going off in your garage. So yeah, we're gonna have to check timing on that one, and it's either through valves or the automatic tensioner is probably at the end of its thing. So we may have to go a little deeper, but I'm not a fan of working on quads per se, only because it takes forever to take all your plastics off to be able to actually get to the actual stupid engine on it, you know. So these, everything's available, everything's right there in the open. So I mean, this was my first choice. Not only that, but with the knobby tires, I'm kind of hoping during the winter and it's snowing and we can go out and be stupid in it, because well, when you notice that I was throttling it up a little bit, there is a pivot point on the frame right here, so the suspension is not only through the springs, but it's
Right.
into the body itself. You know, you combine that with these big old tires and stuff, and to be honest with you, this should throw some snow all over the place. So to those that don't know, I do have a Facebook page for Karnage Karts and Bikes, and so you can see I've been documenting a lot of the builds there, and so this channel is absolutely new. All this stuff is new to me. As I get more experience at it, I hope to be a little better, and I can be a little more informative. If there's things that you would like to see how to do, by all means, leave a comment down below. That's kind of the purpose of this, is just to show that I'm not an expert. I don't claim to be an expert at this. I like to tinker, and I get drawn to unusual oddballs that, you know, usually I run across. So it's kind of like, you know, if you see something that's cool that you can go out and rip on for a bit, it brings a smile to your face. That's kind of what it's all about. But I'm doing these videos really to show that even if you don't have experience with it, don't be afraid. It's all nuts and bolts. In all honesty, it's all nuts and bolts. So you know, a man put it together, a man can take it apart and fix whatever broke, you know. And if you can't necessarily fix an engine per se, Predators, not on sale or anything, are roughly 150 bucks. You could pick yourself up a fixer-upper, cart, bike, whatever, get a motor, bolter on there, or you can find them on, you know, anything from Craigslist, Marketplace, and find yourself a used engine, 4 bolts, put them on, throw a chain on, or in our case, a belt. Away you go. So with that being said, I appreciate you guys watching. Leave a like if you like it. I'll be adding more, and like I said, if you leave a comment, I would be more than happy to answer questions. So until the next time, I appreciate it.